Welcome back. I am Stephanie, and I am a gardener if you're new here, I'm a gardener in southwestern Virginia. We're in zone 7A, and today we are going to pot up some tomatoes. So if you have been following along with me this summer, I have been working through what I'm doing as a gardener getting ready for our summer garden. And our last video, I believe, we planted some tomato seeds. So in my zone, I'm in 7A, our last frost date is about the end of April, beginning of May. And I did tomato seeds the week of March 17th would have been the week. So I'm assuming, I think I did it like the 14th or the 15th of this year. I can't remember off the top of my head. So my tomatoes, I've already potted some of them. So I thought I would just bring you along. I'm going to pot up some yellow pear tomatoes. And right now, let me show you what they're looking like in my container. These are looking healthy and ready to go. So first of all, when you're going to go start potting up tomatoes, you want to make sure that they have gotten their true leaves. These have already gotten their true leaves. The true leaves would be, you've got these, let's see, you've got these little leaves here. These are the cotyledons. And then anything that comes on after that, we've got some suckers here that are coming on. Sorry, I'm moving not towards the camera. We've got some suckers that are coming on. So these are all real true leaves. And it's well past time to go ahead and pot up. So just like we did with our pepper plants, we got our bigger pot that we're potting up into. We put a little bit of potting soil. I'm using Miracle-Gro's potting mix. I know lots of people don't like that. It's what I have on hand. It's what I'm going to use. Ignore because I have dirt all over my face. I've been working all day today. Anyway, so I do some potting mix. I put a little bit of starter and transplanting granular plant food. This is what I like to use. This Burpees Organic starter and transplanting food. It has a 3-6-4 ratio. I just take a little bit in my hand and sprinkle it in. It's probably about a half a tablespoon worth. And I put it in halfway, and then I put some more stuff in. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take these out of the container. Let's see if we can just go ahead and move this down a little so you can see. Normally I stand when I'm doing this. So let's see here. So I'm just going to pop this up out of here. Now, tomato plants are fairly resilient, okay? They have, these tomato plants have really long roots right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break them apart. I'm going to tease them. I think they'll be fine if you accidentally break some roots. I know that they will have done it before. But I still like to kind of tease them out as much as possible. And then I like to just kind of go like this, help move them. Try to break a lot of this like wet soil off of here. All right. I like to do this in, usually I used to do this outside, and this year I have just decided to take over my sunroom and do it in here. All right, so once you tease these seedlings apart, which of course they're giving me a little bit. Tomato plants can be buried fairly deeply because they will put off roots out the side. Your pepper plants, you can bury them deep, but it doesn't really matter. They don't have to be buried deep. There's no benefit to burying them deep. However, if you bury these deep in the soil, you will get the added benefit of extra root systems. So some people, when they pot, let me move you so you can see what I'm doing here. Some people, when they pot up their tomato plants, they like to take their tomato plant and lay it like this way in the pot. Okay, And that way they've buried pretty much the stem, and what the tomato plant will do will put off roots from there. I have done that if I have a big enough pot. I've done that before. It works. It's fine. You don't have to do that. So what I do is I just create a hole, I stick it down in, and then I kind of tamp down the soil a little bit, and then I add a little bit more soil to it. So I'm going to do that. This is fairly simple. It's about the same as when you're potting up pepper plants. So, and then I just kind of go here, and there we did. We just potted up our tomato plant. Very simple. And then I leave them in this container this is a 1020 tray from Bootstrap Farmer, which I have no affiliation with, but I absolutely love their products. They are sturdy. These 1020s have no holes. So what I do is I bottom water whenever I do it. So anyway, I thought I would show you. This is a very quick video today. I don't have a whole lot. I mean, I have a lot of potting up to do, but I don't have a whole lot to say because it's not any different than potting up peppers, except for the fact that you do get the added benefit if you pot them deep. You get the added benefit that they will put off roots to the side, because tomato plants, especially the indeterminate ones, they are basically a vine. And if you, even out in nature, when you take a tomato plant and you bury it, if you don't trellis it up, it'll grow out and across, and it'll set roots off into the ground as it's growing across. So that's what it's going to do inside this soil, is set more roots off. So I hope that was helpful. I know this is short. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm going to pot up all these tomatoes, put some bottom water in it, and then I'm going to put them under the light for now because our temperatures are dropping off. But I will say that right now I'm hardening off my tomato plant, or my pepper plants that we did a couple weeks ago. Right now, when you start seeds in your house, these are very, very tender little babies. And if you stick these out in the garden, instead of, if you've kept them inside out of the elements and you stick this right in the garden in the summer, it is either going to die or be severely damaged. And so what you do with your seedlings is you harden them off. So you take them outside and let them be out in the wind and in the sun for a little bit. I'd start on a warm but cloudyish kind of day, because what will happen is if you put them out in the sun and they're not used to the actual sun, they will get sun damage. They will get like burned leaves on them. And sometimes they can recover and they'll be fine. And sometimes it's just too much for a delicate plant and it'll die. So you want to start slowly putting them out for a little bit. Set yourself a timer. That's what I do because I'm very forgetful. But set yourself a timer. So maybe a couple hours to begin with, maybe just for a little bit before the sun gets too hot or too high. And then you can bring them in and take them back out. So right now our temperatures are nice and warm, and I've been keeping them outside, but this weekend the temperatures are going to start to drop a little bit. And pepper plants don't like cold weather. They are heat loving plants. So I'm going to bring them in and I'm going to just set them on the shelves here in the sun. They'll be fine for a few days inside without direct lamps. But you want to make sure that you protect your babies. You put a whole lot of work into them. You want to make sure that they're protected. So that's what I'm personally going to do over this weekend as the weather cools down a little bit, because the temperatures have been in like the 50s to 60s through the night. So I think that that's perfectly fine for my pepper plants. I've got some eggplants out there and a couple herbs as well. But as it starts to drop into the 40s and into the 30s, that's pretty cold. And so I'm going to bring them in. It's not frost. They're not, I mean, they are frost tender plants, but we're not in the frost area. But I'm still going to protect them because they're still babies and they still need a little bit of love. So I'm going to bring them in. We're going to set them on the shelves. So if you didn't know, that's what you should do. You should always harden your plants off first because they need to get acclimated to the elements before you put them in the garden or in your containers that are going to be outside. What I'd really like to do is bring you along as I prepare containers. I have a bucket garden that I have gardened in prior to me having a no-dig, no-till garden in my front yard. I also gardened in containers. And so what I'd like to do is take you along as I prepare soil for that and get it ready for the upcoming season, as well as I get the containers. I have Greenstock Gardens that I love and have, I grow strawberries in, have grown herbs and lettuces, and I actually have done tomatoes and peppers in them as well. And so eventually I want to take you along and show you how to prepare those that already have soil in them. We're just going to refresh soil, put some nutrients back into it, that kind of stuff. But I'm going to show you how I've gardened in my containers overall. So lots of things happening here at Hello Lucy Joy Gardening, I guess. Lots of things going on. I'm so glad that you're here and that you're coming along with me. And I hope that you learned something today. Get your tomato plants potted up. Get your pepper plants or any other plants that you're wanting to get healthy enough to go out into your garden. Start hardening them off. Start getting them ready. Start getting them used to the elements. All right, I hope that was helpful for you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, friends, and you have a great weekend.